today I thought I'd just jump on and answer a few frequently asked questions about domestic violence. A lot of people that come into Care Lodge, when we ask them what's going on with their situation or what forms of abuse that they are experiencing, they'll say, well, I'm not really being abused. They haven't hit me yet. Well, yet is the key word there. Violence over time escalates and gets worse. So if you're just experiencing at the time verbal or emotional abuse, right, name calling, putting you down, kind of dictating where you go, who you hang out with, maybe some isolation, but they haven't hit you yet, put hands on you. They may never do that. They may never choose to put a hand on you. But a lot of the survivors that I've spoken with have said that the emotional and verbal abuse that those bruises last a longer time than a physical bruise, because it records that voice that replays over and over in your head. I'm not good enough. I can't make it without them. I can't. I'm not, I won't. And you get kind of stuck on that record that goes over and over and over again. Where a relationship may not have become physically abusive yet, the abuse that is experienced, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, can be just as serious and painful as a physical assault. So just normalizing that a little bit there. And another frequently asked question is, what kind of resources are available for victims? So hotline numbers are very important. Someone to be able to call in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, when you get off work, after you pick up the kids from school. So if you're not in the East Central Mississippi area, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can go to loveisrespect.org, womenslaw.org, or nnedv.org. Those are wonderful websites that have a lot of different information posted, in addition to our agency's website, carelodge.com. Things like resources, safety planning, a blog, testimonial pages, so it's videos even, and social media uploads. Lots of great resources to learn about domestic violence and how to help somebody that's experiencing it. Another frequently asked question is, why do victims return to their abusers? This can be a number of reasons why. Anything from they don't believe that there's any other options out there for them. Maybe there's financial barriers, shelter barriers. They're not sure who they can turn to. Or maybe they, the most simple of all, they love the person who's hurting them and they hope for them to change. They want the person to come back who they fell in love with and who won them over from the beginning. And to lose that person that you fell in love with can hurt very deeply, and in a sense encourage the person to stay, because that love bond is so strong between the two of them. Maybe they have children in common and they don't want to separate the children into two different households, or keep children from the mother or the father who's abusive. So there can be a lot of different factors there of why they return. Oftentimes it takes up to 5 or 7 times for someone to leave an abusive relationship before they're gone for good and living independently. Another question is, what are some warning signs? Is there something that somebody might have seen or heard ahead of time before abuse occurs? Yes. So a couple of examples are, the abuser insists on moving very quickly into a relationship. They're very intense. They're saying, I love you within days of just starting a relationship with that person. They're very charming or seem kind of too good to be true. They insist that you stop participating in your leisure time activities, the groups that you normally hang out with, or clubs that you're involved with, classes or coffee groups, things like that. Extremely jealous or controlling, that they hurt you in any kind of way, pinch you to make you stop before you answer a question. I know that might seem kind of confusing, but anything to keep you from expressing who you are. Or maybe they are threatening to out your sexual orientation. Maybe it's criticizing their partner about their appearance and saying, man, you've really put on some pounds since this coronavirus, huh? You're getting kind of rolly. I think you need to quit eating. Or maybe they're too skinny, right? Encouraging that person to overeat, to gain some weight. This one, I've heard from so many different parents, and even when I was growing up, my parents said actions speak louder than words. If your partner says that they love you, but their actions don't match up with your definition of love, that could be a huge warning sign right there. Another frequently asked question is it possible for abusers to change? Yeah, anybody can change, but they have to want to change, right? They have to first make the choice to change and acknowledge that there's behaviors that need to be changed, right? So it comes from within. And sometimes when someone's abusive, they don't realize at first, hey, I'm not treating this person the way I should. This is not a loving way to treat someone I am telling that I love them. Maybe they grew up in a household where screaming and arguing and fighting was a way to gain and maintain a sense of authority in the relationship, and they believe that that is the way that they need to act. So sometimes counseling can help that person, but again, they have to be in agreement to that. I do not recommend, though, that the couple go to couples counseling, because if the person that is being abusive and the victim are in the same room together and they're being asked to share information and insight regarding abuse, then oftentimes the victim is going to be looking to the abuser for the answers. Or can I share this information? And look for those nuances like body language or subtleties in speech or tone of voice. And they're going to be very limited as to how they respond because the abuser's there in the room with them. So individual counseling, maybe at first. If things do get better, maybe counseling together later. But at first, safety is the most important thing, and we don't want to re-victimize the victim. Are men victims of domestic violence? Yes. There is no gender, culture, background, age that is exempt from domestic violence. It happens in all ages, in all stages of life. Another frequently asked question is, how can I help? You can help abusers by holding them accountable to their actions. When you hear somebody catcalling another person or shaming another person or embarrassing somebody or just speaking down to someone, call them out on it. Say, hey, don't do that. Call them by their name, or I think you embarrassed them when you said that. The worst case scenario, they can tell you to mind your own business or not talk to you again, but you've planted that seed that says, hey, I'm watching you, and that's not acceptable when you're around me. It's totally fine to let people know that you're uncomfortable with the way with the way that they're treating someone. You can assist the victim by asking them if they're okay, but choose a time when they're not right next to their abuser. Maybe a great intervention tactic is to distract and say, hey, do you want to walk with me to the bathroom really quick? Or, hey, I don't want to go by myself to my car. Can you come with me? And ask that victim to come with you and have a conversation between you and that person along the way, and just say, hey, I felt really bad when they were talking to you like that or treating you like that. It seemed like they were really jerking you around. Are you okay? And you're letting that victim know that you see what's going on, that you're not okay with it, but also you're there to provide help as well. So I hope some of those frequently asked questions were helpful. If you would like to know more about domestic violence or how to encourage the safety of victims, feel free to visit our website at www.carelodge.com or check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube under our channel, Care Lodge Living Well.